Hello, neighbors. This is Robert J. Ray, president of the Organism Chapter 4, coming to you again with another session. Uh, Many people have talked to me about what it takes to be successful and what do you need to do every day. And I had forgot I hadn't did that session yet, so I'm going to do that session today, and it's called the four basic needs. And this is what everyone needs to get in their life in order every day. Some of the basic needs you may be able to go a day or two without having those, maybe even a week or so, and your mental health won't suffer. But all of this has to do with your mental health. If you don't get these four basic needs met every day, then your mental health is going to suffer. It's just like the my screen behind me that will show you what needs to take place. On this side is the self-preservation side. This is where your mental health is really thriving. On this side, it's going up. But as you can see, in the middle is where most of everyone is every day, and whenever you talk to them, they are in a normal state on the mental health continuum. And everybody is on the same continuum, from the president on down to the guy that's sitting out on the corner begging for money for food or whatever. And he's on the same mental health continuum. But what has happened to these homeless people is that at some point in time they begin to slip down on that continuum, but they're going to remain on it. And when they became homeless, it could have been, they lost their job. They got a divorce. They couldn't afford to pay for an apartment. So they found themselves out on the street. And it doesn't take but a minute. I've been out on the street myself, homeless, but I never had to sleep out on the street. The Infinite Man always took care of me, and I had to sleep in my car one time when I was homeless. My sister put me out, but she had a good reason, because I was on drugs at the time, and I didn't censor her or anything. I just went on, and that was the only time I had to sleep outside, so to speak. And the rest of the time, I went over to my uncle's house, and I had 4 uncles in Michigan, and I told him I was homeless. I needed a place to stay. And his wife said, you can't stay. You can stay one night. That's not going to help a person. So, they was my people. I figured they would keep me until I could get back on my feet. But all I could stay one night. But I called my best friend in time, who was a Caucasian guy. We became friends when we was in this process. Same process I'm teaching. He can teach the same process because we went through training together. And he told me to come on over and stay with him. And he knew I was on the drugs and stuff, but he embraced me, and he brought me in, and he let me stay there at his home until I was able to get my own place. And he had all kind of gold rings, diamond, money laying around and stuff. And I never stole anything from him. Although, as crack smokers, you'll steal anything that ain't nailed down. But his friendship was worth more to me than the crack was. And it's hard to find a person that's on crack that value any friendship at all. But I was way ahead of the average crack smoker, because I didn't get on crack because I wanted to smoke crack. I got on it because I wanted to find out why people do the things they do when they're on crack, and why would an individual leave their child with the drug dealer to get crack. So I was like experimenting. But it got the best of me, and then I got addicted to it, and I stayed in that game for almost 13 years. But when I went into the crack, the cocaine, at that time it wasn't crack, it was freebase and cocaine. And on my 35th birthday, my best friend in time asked me if I wanted to try it. And I did, and we stayed over this school teacher's house all night long smoking. But I couldn't smoke it right the first night. But after that night, I was on it. I wanted to go, so I stayed in the cocaine business 13 years. And then next day, I told the Infinite Man, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna be in this cocaine game for I don't know how long, but I want you to take care of me, and I don't want to go to the prison. I don't even want the police to come to my house. I don't want to get stopped by the police, anything like that." And I guess you say, well, why would you ask God, the Infinite Man, to help you do something that was illegal and against the law? Well, if you understand who God is, He don't censor you because you break the law, and He's not going to hold that against you. Because people do a lot of evil and false things, and He doesn't hold it against them. But He's always trying to get you to do the right thing. And He knew why I was in it. I wasn't in it to make money, to live a lifestyle as a drug dealer, like most drug dealers do. And they get victimized, they end up going to prison. So when I got on these out there in the drug game, I stayed in it for 13 years, and I never got stopped by the police. And I was doing this every day and every night, all day and all night. And I never got stopped by the police. I never got taken down to the police station. The police never came to my door. And I was selling out of my apartment and stuff like this. It never came. And it was one time I was out in San Jose. Yeah, San Jose. My nephew, I went out there to pick up some cocaine for him. And 2.5 kilos of cocaine. And so I went out there and I got the cocaine, and I was staying at the hotel till he got it. So my nephew brought me the 2.5 keys, and I left, and I called a cab to take me down to the train station, which was a bus station in San Jose. And I went to the bus station, and the bus station wasn't open. So I'm standing down there with these 2.5 kilos of cocaine, and I said, "Well, this is really dangerous here, because I'm standing down there, a black man standing down here by himself in this time of night." And sure enough, the highway, the street was about 100 yards up from the station, and I looked up there, and there the police come, like always. And he backed up, and he started driving down where I was. And I was standing there with these 2.5 keys sitting over there in my bag. And I said, "Help me, Jesus," just like that. And he creeped on down there, and he pulled up where I was, and I just kind of, and let his window down on the passenger side, and I just said, just like this, "What's up?" And he looked at me and looked over there at my bag and my clothes and stuff, and let his window back up and drove on. And boy, if you ever had any thrill or joy or happiness just run through your whole body, that's what happened to me then. And then not because I had got away with it, but because I had called the Infinite Man and told him to help me, standing out there in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know a single human being in San Jose. If he would have stopped and searched in my bag and got that cocaine, I would have still been out there in a San Jose prison. But the Infinite Man, what people don't understand about him is that he can be anywhere in the universe in an instant. I called on him out in San Jose early that morning, and he came there, and he was there in an instant. And he made that police officer drive on off. And I never worried anymore after that. If I came out to get into cocaine, I never worried about it, because I know that he was taking care of me. But a lot of drug dealers in prison, they say, Mr. Ray, you should be in here with us when I was doing counseling and training out there. Hey, my screen cut off. Oh, here you go. I got it back on. And I was out there in the prison, and they said, Mr. Ray, you should be in here with us. I say, I am in here with you, but I'm in here training you and teaching you how to live a lifestyle. You was doing the same thing we was doing. I say, yeah, but I was doing it in an orderly manner, which you guys don't know what that is. But once I started teaching them in the process, and I taught 100 black men and some white guys how to live a orderly life, and they got out of prison, and they didn't come back to prison because I had taught them in this process. In one of these sessions, I'm going to talk to you about today, I taught them this session, and they didn't have no idea that that's what they was doing every day. They was trying to get their 4 basic needs met. And people don't even know these needs, but they know they have to be met. Now, these 4 basic needs are physical satisfaction, emotional security, social status, and achievement of mastery. And if you don't get these needs met every day, your mental health will suffer. Although you are at normal, which is from 1 to 10 on a 5, that's what most people are every day. They get up, they get dressed, they eat their breakfast, they go to work, and they remain at that number 5 back there you see behind me. And if anything happened good to them that day, they may slide up to a 6 or 7. And this is good mental health. But if something happens to them that day that causes them to get into their feelings, then they'll slide down that continuum going toward the straitjacket area. And that's where a lot of people commit suicide, is when they slide down that continuum and where their sickness is at, or down on this side. And everybody's like this. And if you slide too far down on that continuum, as you can see in the straitjacket area, things might happen to you. You might do some things that it might take you a long time to get out of. You might try to rob a bank, or you might try to rape somebody, or do something criminal, and they'll have to come pick you up and put you in prison. But this is because your mental health has gotten bad on this continuum. So what everyone has to do every day is to get these basic needs met. The physical satisfaction takes in things like you have to have something to eat every day. You have to have clothes to wear every day. You have to have somewhere to lay your head at night and somewhere to come in from the weather, which you have to have shelter. And if you're an adult and you've picked up a habit of having sex, then at some points in your time, not every day, but at some point in your life, every week, once a week or twice a week, you'll want to get these sexual needs met. But for children and for teens, you don't have to worry about this particular physical satisfaction, which is the sexual satisfaction, until you come of age. But everything else, the food, their clothing, like a lot of individuals, they have to have a place to stay, and then that need is met, and they are comfortable on the mental health continuum. They're up there in the normal range where everybody is most of the time. You can even visit people in the state hospital where they've been taken because they had a nervous breakdown, and they did something, and they had to put them in the state hospital, and now they're staying there. But you can go up there on any day and talk to these individuals in here, and they'll all be at a normal too. They will have come back to a 5 or 6, and they can sit down and talk to you about politics or anything else you want to talk about. But at some point in their life, they got so far down on that continuum that they couldn't get back up before society had to step in and deal with them because of their mental health had got down in the straitjacket area. And a lot of times you've seen people when they come to get them, they had to put them in a straitjacket, and that's one where they wrap this, put you in this just jacket, and wrap your arms around it where you can't do nothing. You just there. Only thing you can do, and then they'll keep you in this straitjacket until they can get you somewhere where they can take it off and put you in like a rubber room or a padded cell, for instance. But very seldom we get that far. But some people do get that way. Now, if you get out into the start moving down on that continuum, getting in the straitjacket area, as you can see, that's self-destructive back there. And you get into a lot of withdrawal. A lot of individuals, before they really go all the way to the left, is that they start staying up in their room. And that's why you have to have people around you that know your behavior patterns. And if you stay up in your room, some people, if they were to stay up in their room a day, then the people that care about them, they'll say, well, that's out of his pattern. There's something wrong. And they may be able to go up there and talk you out of coming down out of your room. This is withdrawal. And a lot of people do this. And if you don't let people know that you're in withdrawal, then this could keep you drive you further into your sickness and drive you further into withdrawal, as you can see there. So this is what everyone has to be concerned about every day. A lot of addicts, when they get up, they've added another physical satisfaction. They got to get their drugs in place. And a lot of them, they get this in place before they get the food or anything else. But this is something that you contract. You become an addict. So now you got to get up every day and not only get these physical satisfaction met, your clothes, your food, place to stay. Now you got to get this drug addiction in place. And that's even more stressful for you to do. And then you may become homeless. If individuals become homeless, just think about it. A human being was not meant to stay outside on the street, so to speak. Although in a lot of countries, people live outside, but they have huts and they build for themselves stuff to keep them out of the rain and out of the weather and just be in a place. And this is okay. This is the way the Infinite Man planned it for them. But over here in America, we look for people to have an apartment, to have a house that they can go in. And when people are out homeless on the street, their mental health is suffering, especially when they first get out there. Just think, you're homeless now. Your first day out on the streets, you don't have anywhere to go. You might have a bag with your clothes in, a garbage bag with your clothes in. So you walking around, and people that has good mental health, they look at you and they say, they must have fell on hard times. Because you got, everywhere you going, you got your bag with. Because everything that you can control and have in the world now is in this black bag. And that's bad mental health. That's not the way it was planned. All of these things you got in your bag should be at some place in your apartment, at home, in your drawer, in your chest of drawers and things like this. But now you carry it around on your back. So people know that there's something wrong with you now. And it is, because now you're going to suffer. On this mental health continuum back here, you're going to be sliding down on the mental health. You're going to be wondering, where am I going to sleep at tonight? Where am I going to eat? Yeah. If I got some money the first day, after a while, that money's going to run out, because it's going to be hard for me to get a job without an address and without a phone and everything like this. So now your mental health is suffering. You slide down on the mental health continuum, and you're going to be really sick. Your mental health is going to suffer as you slide down on this mental health continuum. But then you'll meet up with somebody who know your condition, because they've been through it, and they'll say, hey, are you homeless? And you'll have to admit that, yeah, I am homeless. Well, come on, let me teach you some of the ropes of what you're going to have to do to get your food and have a place to stay, and so that you can survive out here. So now someone is taking you under their wings, even though your mental health was suffering. That's going to stop you from going further down on the mental health continuum, because now you're not alone. You met another homeless person that has befriended you, and now they're going to teach you how to survive out here on as a homeless person, and they do. And now it's almost normal. It's people out there, they have they have conditioned themselves to be almost normal on the mental health continuum. They've conditioned themselves that, hey, when they wake up in the morning, they may be in a cardboard box, but now they still know what they have to do. They have to get up, get their stuff together, and make sure that their things are where that they can keep them with them at all times. And now they've got to go and try to get breakfast, which is the most important meal of the day. And so these people have adapted to living outside. So their mental health really, even though it's suffering, they can survive like that. They don't have to go way down to the straitjacket area that you see up here. Now they're with other people and they've got support system, and they, hey, let's go down here to Dunkin' Donuts and see if they threw away some donuts, and see if we can't go back there in the garbage and scrounge for some stuff. Although this is not normal for a human being to do this, it can be done, and they can make it work for them, because like Walmart, they throw away so much good stuff back there, and but they wouldn't let anybody get it. They would throw out food, packages of meat and stuff like this that might be a day or two old that you can still eat and survive off of it. So here are people round behind these businesses looking in the dumpster, looking for whatever they think they could use, and looking for some food, and they would eat. If donuts in there, they would get the donuts out and they would eat it, and they would, go drink some water, and that would give them some energy to move around. They would raise their blood sugar level up. Although you are sitting at home at your breakfast table, you eating waffles and bacon and eggs and things like this to get your blood sugar level up so you can go to work and start out your day right. The homeless does the same thing. They go and look for something out of the dumpsters behind restaurants, and they eat and they get their blood sugar level so they can go out and try to get their addiction in place. Either they can go out and try to find something so that they can work their way back to get in a home. They may go look for a job, or they may go down and get a job for the day. In Chicago, my son says that they have daily workers that come down there, and they may work on a liquor store truck today, and they'll get paid the same day. And so a lot of them do this. So your mental health is based on getting these four needs met. So just think about it. Everybody has to get these needs met every day, especially the physical satisfaction. You got to eat every day. You got to have somewhere to wash off and bathe and sleep and get ready for the next day. But if you're homeless, you do have to do the same thing. So I'm saying in this session, it teaches individuals that you got to get these basic needs met. So that's the physical satisfaction. You got to have something to wear, something to eat, somewhere to stay. And if you've gotten addicted to or either gotten a habit of having sex, you get these. Because just think about it. When you become adult, this is a need that the infinite man placed in you, that you need sex. You have to have sex. And a lot of priests and nuns, when they don't get this sexual need met, they do other things that are destructive. Nuns might take it out on the charges that they are over. They might beat them, or might make them pull their pants down and beat them on their naked rump. But see, she's getting some sexual satisfaction out of this. And priests, heard about all these priests molesting these little boys, and which is demonic, and it's a sin. But they do it anyway because of this need, this sexual need, it just eats on you until you have to do something about it. That's why a lot of individuals end up going to prison because they take this section need and they figure out another way to get it met, which might be uh, perverted and might be demonic. But it's all it's doing is trying to get your sexual needs met. Most people get their sexual needs met in the orderly manner. They get a female and a male, and they get together, and they get their sexual needs met. And now you got the gays, the homosexuals. You know, they can get their needs met together with the same sex, and they get it met, and it's no big deal. But if you try to resist this need, then a lot of times you'll end up getting victimized by needing this need, and you'll try to do it some other way, and it will, and you will get victimized by it. But make no mistake, you're still on this mental health continuum, slide up and down, and everybody is going to go up and down this continuum their whole life. A lot of people they are good on this mental health, and they go up and down this mental health, and they go to a normal, and they go up to a maybe a 9 or 10 sometime. If a deal comes through, they up there. If something happens, if some of the children graduate and they get a joyous effect out of it, and then all of a sudden they might start getting older and they start getting sicker and they start slipping down on this mental health continuum. And that's where a lot of people end up down in the straitjacket area. They get sick, and this sickness pushes them down on that side. And that's what sickness does. It makes your mental health suffer. So this is the basic need of physical satisfaction. Now let's move on to the next need, which is emotional security. Emotional security is a need for love. You have to know how to receive love, and you have to know how to give love. And a lot of times people become a doormat for other people because they, like the song say, looking for love in all of the wrong places. When you're born into the world, you're born to parents, and they give you that love. And when you're an infant, you kind of grow up, and you know you got your parents to love you, and your mental health don't suffer. You're a good little kid. You obey your parents, and when the time comes, you start to school, and they love you off to school, and you start that, and you begin to pick up other individuals that love you, and you give love. Your grandparents, they are great for getting this need met because they love the grandkids actually more than the parents do, because they see both of them. They can give that love to the parents, and they can give the love to the grandkids. So, and the grandkids love to give that love back to the grandparents, and that's a good loving relationship. And this is what you do. And then as you grow older, you develop friendships, loving friendships. And this is another way that you get that need met. Your friends give you love, and you give them love, and you say, "Hey, you're a good friend of mine, and I love you." And you do, and y'all do things together. Y'all maybe go to the movie together, go to sports events together, go to concerts together, listen to music together. So this need doesn't suffer in most people. But if you're an individual that you have to come up the hard knocks way, like you might have parents that they can't give you the love you need, because they're having trouble trying to get that need met in their life, and then see you may grow up and you're not getting this need met like you should have. Like a lot of people, they become a lot of kids, they become orphans, and an orphan have a really hard time trying to get that need met. I watched the commercial on TV now about these orphans, and they give a rundown on what they want, what they love to do, and what foods they love to eat, and what they plan to do with their life as they get older. And it's just so sad to watch that. Knowing that they may not ever get anybody to adopt them. And the place where they are living, it's just a holding place for them to be out out from the street and be away from home that might be abusive. But no love is coming their way, so to speak. They might be fed and gave them their basic needs, but you need that emotional security. You need to know that somebody loves me and that I can love somebody. And this is one that if you don't get this need met, then you will really have a lot of struggles in your life. You might even become abusive yourself. You might begin to hate people because they don't love you. And if you can't receive love and give love, your mental health suffers. You go down on this mental health continuum, and you keep going down until when somebody come along and they know that you are suffering for love, they'll use you then. They'll give you a little love and you'll cling on to them and you'll end up being their doormat, and they'll use you and misuse you because you're trying to get love from them, and they're just trying to get everything they can out of you. Sex, money, make you do things that you don't really want to do. And a lot of pimps used to get uh, little young girls to do this because they would either become a father figure for them or either they'll become someone who gives them love, and they'll go out and do anything that this individual asks them to do. It includes selling their body, stealing, carrying drugs for them, doing anything for them. And they think this is love, but it's not. It's being used and victimized by somebody who's using love against you, not for you. So if you don't get this need met, you'll really suffer on the mental health continuum. Most people who have people that love them in their life, they go up the mental health continuum here. They go up to a 10 sometimes. As long as you got people that love. And it was kind of like me and my mother like that. Although I had people in my family that loved me from day one up. But then when you get on drugs, your people, they'll dump you, they'll drop you. and that's what a lot of my family members did. They dropped me. I ain't gonna support you on that cocaine and stuff like this. And I understood it. But there was Vettis, my mother. She didn't dump me. And this just goes to show you, if you got one person in the world that loves you and you can count on through all situations and all hazards that your life come into, and that's who Vettis was for me. She was my best friend in the universe. And that's why there's no distance between love and wisdom. If I was in the same city with Vettis, hey, I could go call on her anytime. If she had anything I need, I could get it. And most of it was just money. Uh, and she would let me have money to buy drugs, and she knew what I was going to do for her. But she would see till I had food also, and anything else that I need. And she was the only one that was doing that for some years. Outside of the other drug addicts that I was using drugs with, if they had something, they would give you a little love there, but you couldn't depend on that all the time. But I could always depend on Vettis. And then when I left and went to Michigan, and she was still in Mississippi, she still loved me. All I had to do was pick up the phone, and we would talk, and she would tell me how much she loved me. And she would ask me how was I doing, was I doing all right, what did I need, and that that she was praying for me. And this kept me going on. I knew that I had somebody that loved me. And then as long as you know you got one person in the world that you can count on their love anytime, every time, and all the time, your mental health don't suffer. But there was a lot of people that was in the drug game with me They didn't have anybody. Their mother had dumped them. They didn't have anybody, but the people that they was hanging around. And I can tell you now that these people, they'll drop you like a hot potato if you standing in the way of them getting their needs met. So this emotional security is so important in a person's life. And I met a lot of them out there at the prison when I was working out there as a professional counselor and therapist, and everybody had dropped them. Although they had friends when they was out there and they was in the drug game and they had big money and cars and jewelry and all of this, they thought they had people that loved them. But once they got put in prison, then the only somebody that would even give them a little inkling of love would be their mothers, whom they had, had dumped when they was out there. But they found out that the only individual that they could count on when they got in prison to put something on their book, the commissary, was their mother. And mothers, they love you regardless. They don't care if you're a pile of dung in the middle of the floor. They'll try to love you even if you smell like that, if you're doing that. But some of mothers, they wouldn't go. They wouldn't go for that. They dumped them, and they didn't have anybody, but just the people in prison. And you could tell their mental health suffered in there, and they would get victimized a lot in there. They would end up having to bargain away their food. I don't know how many of them came to me and then they would say, "Mr. Ray, you think you could get me something to eat?" And they were getting 3 meals a day. And I said, well, where's your dinner at? Well, I wanted to smoke cigarettes, and I got that habit, and I bargain away and they bargain away their food for cigarettes or for any other kind of addiction they had, because they could get drugs in there, and they would bargain away their food for that, and they would come to me and say, could you get me something to eat, Mr. Ray? And it was just a sad thing to see them in that state of mind, and the mental health suffered. And when the mental health suffers, it's easy to be used when you're down in this area down here. People can use you. You're more quicker to be used down there, and your mental health suffers. So emotional security is the ability to be able to give love and receive love. And like a lot of people now, they would be able to give love, but they couldn't receive love. They said, "Well, let me do this." You say, "Well, let me do this for you," and they will say, "No, you don't have to do anything for me, but you can just but just let me do this for you." But that's not the way it works. You have to begin to understand that you have to love and give love. So emotional security is a real important need to get met. Now let's move on to social status. You will say, well, what's social status got to do with anything? Well, you have to be a part of a group. You have to be able to be chosen. I remember when I was a kid coming up, you would be standing there and somebody would be choosing teams for uh, a softball or basketball or something, and you would really be hoping that you got chosen. And if you did get chosen, then you know that you was part of the group. Then that made you feel good. But if you didn't get chosen, then you would feel sad. You would say, "Well, what's wrong with me? And why won't anybody choose me?" You know. And then this would be bad on your mental health, because if you didn't get chosen at some point in time, if you wasn't accepted into the group, then you would become a loner, so to speak. And then when you get to stand a lot of time by yourself, your mental health gets up. And as you grow older, then you want to be part of the bowling league. They say, hey Jay, you want we need somebody, another member of the bowling league. Would you want to join? Other softball, football, and the ladies the same way. We need somebody to play cards, bridge, or whist. We need a ladies sewing club. We want you to be part of that. Long as you are accepted as part of the group, you're a social status. Then you're in that realm. You're okay, and that's good on your mental health. You'll be going up in the health issue. You'll be in the self-preservation part of the mental health continuum, and you'll be able to be open, and you'll be able to encounter, and you'll be able to be in awareness, and allow yourself to push back on any withdrawal come in because you got social status now. People expect you to be part of their group, and that's you can own that, and that's who I am. That's my group over there. You know, it used to be a song called "The In Crowd," and they used to say that, "Hey, we're in it for any amount. You know, our part is always the biggest amount." But you wanted to be in that in crowd, and if you was in the in crowd, then hey, you had social status. Then other people would look up to you, and they would come to you and want to be your friend. So always remember, you got to be part of the group. If you're hanging by yourself, then this is where depression comes in. And individuals don't know that depression, and this is where our doctors don't understand. Depression is a spiritual disease. This is because you can't be in relationship with other people. Then you get depressed, and then this will surely push you down into the straitjacket area and in the sickness area, and then down there, a lot of people end up committing suicide down there in that area. So social status, you got to have that along with your emotional security and your preservation, your self-preservation. You have to have that in your. And the next one, which is the last one, is achievement of mastery. You say, well, what is that, Counselor Ray? Well, this is you have to have some goals set. You have to have long-term goals and some short-term goals. This could be even a daily goal. Oh, I got to do this daily. Like a lot of people have a goal of going do exercise, going to the gym. There you go. You go to the gym every day, or maybe 3 times a week. You're achieving it. And why are you going to the gym? It's because you want to have a healthy, strong body. And if you got a healthy, strong body, usually you're going to have a healthy, strong mind. So this is a goal that you can accomplish every day, and you don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to pay. You could go up down to the track, walk around there in the park. Just since you got a goal to keep your heart healthy, to keep a healthy body, and to keep a healthy mind. Then you might have a long-term goal. You say, I'm gonna finish high school, then I'm gonna go to the service, go to the armed service. You're gonna achieve that. And some people might say that they're gonna do 20 years in in the in the Army or the Navy. But these are achievement things. These are things that you set for yourself, and that's what keep you thriving. Because if you're working on a job and you get that job down pat, it may get boring to you. But if you got some goals set, if you got say, hey, I'm gonna work on this job and I want to be a supervisor, in 3 years or 2 years. Always have something going for your achievement of mastery. You want to master something, you want to be achieved. A lot of individuals stay in their armed service 20 years. I know my uncle, he stayed in service 20 years, then he came out, worked for General Motors for 20 years. But all of that is achievement. And then he got to be a supervisor there at General Motors, just achievement. And same way with my ex wife. I got her a job at General Motors. She was working on the line. Then she wanted to be a supervisor. She became a supervisor. Then she wanted to go further. Then she became a general supervisor. And then after 20 some years, 30 years, she retired, and she living good now, living large. Her and her husband that she met, he was a superintendent. So now financially, and they able to get their basic needs met. And but because of the achievement thing, they don't have to worry about any money and any finances anymore. And a lot of people want to achieve that success now. They invest in the stock market, they invest in things so that when they get a certain age, they can sit and watch their money grow, and they'll have enough money to buy whatever they want to buy. They want to buy a home, cars, things like this, they're able to buy that. So you want to be able to achieve something. And if you're not getting these basic needs met, your physical satisfaction, your emotional security, your social status, and your achievement of mastery, if you're not getting these things met, then you're gonna suffer. You're gonna be down in the if you keep it up, you're gonna slip down in the straitjacket area, and you'll be down there where you may commit suicide. So this is one thing that everyone has to do. I don't care where you live at in the world, these needs has to be met. If you do, if you don't do well with getting these needs met, you'll slip down the mental health continuum into the straitjacket area, and they might have to put you away, or you might end up homeless on the street, and you might even end up committing suicide. But if you're getting these needs met, then you're going to be on the self-preservation side, and you'll be going up and down from normal up and down to a 10, and life is going to be great and it's going to be beautiful for you. But if you're not, then life can be real hard for you to make it. But remember, 4 basic needs has to be met, and these needs, just remember, these 2 words, successively and simultaneously. You're getting these needs met. Some of these needs are being met simultaneously. Some of the physical satisfaction, the emotional security, the social status, and the achievement of mastery can be going on simultaneously at the same time sometimes. And then sometimes, some of the needs met, like the achievement of mastery, is successful, like going up a step. When you go up steps, you go up one at a time, and you go up higher to the next step. This is the way that the basic needs met, is that you might have to successively get these needs met, and this could be doing in a single day, and it could be doing in a single week, month, and then the year. You can begin, but as long as you're moving and getting these basic needs met, you're going to have good mental health. And this is what matters in life, is having good mental health. As long as you've got good mental health, you can do things. You can have a happy life. You can have a joyous life. And if you got a family, and if you are married, and you and your wife know about these needs, and you get these needs met daily and weekly and monthly, then your children, you can see that they get their needs met daily. And if these needs are getting met, and you see that your kids' needs are getting met, then they're going to do well in school. They're going to do good in school. But if you're not, I remember I had some kids in my neighborhood I was living in when I was being in training out at the organism. And they would come up to my house and they would say, "Mr. Ray, we ain't had any breakfast. Our mother left. She left us some cold oatmeal. And if you ever seen any cold oatmeal, you know that's the last thing you want to eat is cold oatmeal." And I would fix them some millet. And millet is like a cereal, but it has all the proteins. It's a complete protein. You need. I don't know how many people I fixed a bowl of millet for when I was, in the drug game, and doing my 13 years in that world, because they didn't have anything to eat. But if you give them something to eat, then they can think. They can think. They maybe say, "Well, now I can maybe go do something and maybe work something out for myself." But it's just hard and it's sad to see kids that they can't even get a breakfast out of their parents. And this causes them to have bad mental health. And I remember uh, one of my teen uh, clients in prison, he hated his mother. You know, he said he if he got a chance, he was gonna kill her when he get out because she didn't treat him right. And I had to work with him real hard to get him to understand that your mother, they don't really have to love you. Remember this. Your parents, they don't have to love you, but the infinite man put something in them to love you because he knew that a lot of parents, they might say, hey, I ain't dealing with these kids. I can't deal with it. And they'll walk on out of your life and go on and try to get their needs met and don't care about your needs met. So just realize that however, whatever hand you've been dealt in life, you may have to be the one to get your basic needs met. And it might fall on you. I remember seeing these, and I've told this story before. It was a little African boy, and he was 6, maybe 7. And he had a little 4-year-old sister and a little 2-year-old sister. And his parents, the ones that was getting his needs met, had died from AIDS, both of them. And they were living in this hut. And this little 6-year-old African boy had to get up every day and try to get his 2 sisters' needs met. Had to try to get them something to eat, had to try to keep them some clothes to wear, had to try to keep that hut that they was under and keep things from coming in that might harm them. And when I saw that, I said, if I had enough money at this point in time, I would go and rescue those 3. I would make those that my project, and I was gonna get them, but I didn't have the money at that time. But one thing they did for me, they made me know that I wouldn't be feeling sorry for anybody over here in America. And I don't feel sorry and sad for anybody now. I see people that's out on the street, homeless and stuff like that. I don't feel sad for those people because I know that it's a little boy struggling, trying to go out and beg and take care of a 4-year-old sister and a 2-year-old sister. Now that's a struggle in life. And if you're an adult and you out there and you can't get these basic needs met, then that's on you. Then you don't get them met. Then you just have to slip down on the mental health continuum, end up committing suicide in a straitjacket. And that's what, because I don't feel sorry for anybody. Not after I saw that. And I wish I would know where they are today, but I didn't. I don't know if they got victimized, if they got ate up by a python, because the python slide up in there, squeeze them to death, and suck them down. Because little kids over in Africa, that happens to them. That really happens to them. So in closing, I just want you to know that unless you get these basic needs met daily, then you'll slip down on the continuum here and you will suffer. And you will end up in a straitjacket, end up in prison, end up committing suicide. Or either you can go with your self-preservation, sickness, self-destruction on this side, self-preservation on this side. And if you do, then you shouldn't have too much trouble making it in life. So that's all I have to share with you in this session, and I'm anxious to move on.